Now we'll learn about the 12th question here. A galvanometer of resistance 100 ohms gives a full scale deflection for a current of 1 milliampere. So here the current in the galvanometer, that is Ig, is equal to 1 milliampere, and the galvanometer value of resistance G is 100 ohms, and the total current I is 10 amperes because it is showing the full scale deflection. So in a galvanometer, to convert into ammeter, we have to connect a shunt resistance S. So shunt means parallel. So that means the voltage in each branch would be equal. The voltage across a shunt would be equal to the voltage across galvanometer. So let us assume the voltage across the galvanometer as the current across galvanometer into galvanometer resistance into the remaining current, that is I minus Ig, into the shunt. So now I minus Ig. So this Ig is 1 milliampere, which is 0.0101 ampere, 0.001. So now we'll substitute it here. 10 minus 0.001 into S is equal to Ig, that is 0.001 into the 100. So it would be 0.1. So shunt would be 0.1 divided by 9.999. So that is approximately, if we take this, remove this decimal, so we have 1 by 99.99. So 1 by 99.99 approximately would be 0.01 ohm. So the answer is first option here. Okay. Now, coming to the question number 13, in Young's double slit experiment, using a monochromatic light of wavelength lambda, the intensity of a light at a point on the screen where the path difference is the wavelength is k units. So now we will just take the first case 1. In case 1, the path difference is lambda. So that means the phase difference would be 2 pi by the wavelength into the path difference, that is lambda itself. So here it is 2 pi. So in that case the intensity is k, but that is nothing but 4 I naught cos square, the phase difference by 2 in first case, so which is 2 pi by 2 square. So cos pi is minus 1 whole square, that is 4 I naught. So that is k. So this will put it aside. So now let us take the second case here. So the intensity where the path difference is lambda by 3. So that means delta x in this case is lambda by 3. So the phase difference in the second case is 2 pi by wavelength into lambda by 3. So that is 2 pi by 3. So what is the new intensity here? 4 I naught cos square, that wavelength, that is the path difference, 2 pi by 3 by 2, half of that. So that is pi by 3. And this 4 I naught we already found in this first case as k. Cos pi by 3, that is cos 60. Cos 60 is 1 by 2 square. 1 by 2 whole square. So that is k by 4 would be the answer. So that is first option would be the answer here. Now coming to the question number 14 here. So the magnitude and direction of acceleration produced in a body of mass 5 kgs, and when two mutually perpendicular forces. So the two forces 8 Newton and 6 Newton are acting mutually perpendicular. So the magnitude of the resultant force when they are at 90 degrees applying parallelogram law would be under root a square plus 6 square. So that is 36 plus 64. So that is root 100, and that is 10 Newton. So directly you can write using a Pythagorean triplet. But here it is acceleration which is asked. Acceleration according to Newton's second law is force by mass, that is 10 by 5. So that is 2 meter per second square. We have three options here. But we need to calculate with respect to 8 newtons, we'll calculate alpha. So alpha would be tan inverse of, with x component, it would be y component 6 by the component along x. So that is 8. So that is 3 by 4 with respect to 8 Newton. So 3 by 4, I think third option would be the correct here. Now, coming to the question number 15 here. Here we can see that there are 5 capacitors are being given. So each are of 10 microfarad for C1, C2, C3, C4 connected in parallel to C5. So as you observe the figure, C1, C2, C3, C4 are in series. So now how many equal resistors are in series? 4. So the equivalent C series in this connection would be 10 by 4 microfarad. So that is a 2.5 microfarad. So this 2.5 microfarad is connected in parallel to the C5, which is again 2.5 microfarad as given. So the charge, if Q is entering through this, the charge gets divided as equally among these two capacitors. So, and the charge remains same around all series C1, C2, C3, C4. These 2 points, let us have an idea. First, we'll calculate C equivalent, which is parallel connection, 2.5 plus 2.5. So that is 5 microfarad. So we have three options that way. But let us calculate Q. That will give us our answer, Q by 2. So that is CV. So C equivalent into V. So that is 50 into 5 micro coulomb. So that is 250 microcoulomb. But across C1, across C2, across C3, across C4, across C5, it is Q by 2 is the charge. So that is 125 microcoulombs. So 125 microcoulombs on all capacitors. Here you can see it is the first option. 5 microfarad is the C equivalent and 125 microcoulomb on all capacitors here. Now, coming to the question number 17, the power of a crane which lifts a mass of 1000 kgs to a height of 20 meters in 10 seconds. So, here power, if we take, is nothing but equal to mgh by t. So, m is 1000, that is 10 power 3. G is 9.8, they mentioned it here. The height is 20 by 10. So it comes out to be 2 into 9.8, that is 19.6 kilowatts. So fourth option would be correct. It's a very easy question here. So now coming to this question, in a meter bridge experiment, as shown in the figure here, across R1 and R2, one side we have a galvanometer, and from the other side we have the EMF source connected to a jockey. So we have interchanged the positions of the galvanometer and the EMF source here. So now what happens in the galvanometer is the question asked. So now what is a meter bridge which is working based on the principle of Wheatstone bridge? So a property of Wheatstone bridge in its conjugate nature is what is being asked here. So in this section, what happens is when you are interchanging the position of the battery and the galvanometer, if it is in a balanced condition, it does not affect its balance condition. Therefore, even after interchanging, a balance point will still exist where the galvanometer shows no deflection. And the galvanometer will show both sided deflections and zero deflection at the balance point. So here the option would be the both right and left side deflection and at the balance point no deflection. So that fourth option would be the answer. So now let us go to the next question here. 18th question, Young's modulus of elasticity. How we will write Young's modulus of elasticity? That is force by area, that is stress, longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain, delta L by L. So this goes up. So A would be mapped with 2. Compressibility is the reciprocal of bulk modulus, and bulk modulus is minus dP by dV by V. So if I take bulk modulus, it is dP by dV by V, that is 4. Compressibility is the reciprocal of it. And Poisson's ratio is the lateral strain, that is in terms of diameter or radius, by the longitudinal strain. So this is the value. So that would be the first option. So here A2. Next, we have the fourth option, A2, B3, C4, D1. So that would be the answer here. Coming to this question, in a concave lens, which is a diverging lens, here a ray of light emanating from the object parallel to the principal axis. So if I take a concave lens and this is the principal axis, if light rays are emerging parallel to it, after the refraction, they diverge away, they move away. So then they cannot meet really. So we have to extend it back and make it to meet at the principal focus one. So here appears to diverge from the first principal focus. That would be the correct answer. Now, coming to this question here, a thin wire of length L and linear mass density M. So, linear mass density M is, let its total mass be capital M. So, total mass by the total length. So, that means the mass of this wire would be M into L. This is the first point. And they gave radius as R. So, the total length of the wire is 2 pi R, which is the circumference. So, R would be L by 2 pi. So these 2 points first we'll have an idea. But they are asking the moment of inertia about the axis y dash. But what is y dash according to the parallel axis theorem? That is nothing but the axis which is passing through its center. So that is I diameter. So that is I diameter plus mr square. So like it is I tangent. So it would be mr square by 2 plus mr square. The I diameter is mr square by 2 because I center of mass is mr square. So that is 1 plus 1 by 2, 3 by 2 m r square. But what is that 3 by 2? M is ml and r is r square would be L square by 4 pi square. So now L square by 4 pi square. So total 3 m L cube by 8 pi square would be the answer. So third option would be the correct answer here. Now, coming to the question number 21 here, each side of a metallic cube is of mass 5.580 kgs. So, it has four significant figures here. And now we have a side. The side is 9 centimeters. So, volume of the cube is side cube. So, side cube is 9.0 whole cube. So, that is 9 into 9 into 9. So, it would be nothing but 729 and it is in centimeters. If we convert into meter square, this is 10 power minus 6 meter cube, sorry. So then what would be the density? So density is mass by volume. So mass is 5.580 by 729 into 10 power minus 6. So if I take 3 zeros up, so it would be 5580 by 729 into 10 power 3 because they gave x into 10 power 3. I wrote in 10 power 3 by taking 1000 here. So 729 into 10 times would be 7290. So obviously it will be around 7.654, let us suppose. So because we're seeing the options, you can guess it up. But here, how many significant figures you have to express it? That is important. So if I take 9.0 here 9 is non-zero digit, it is significant. But 0 is a trailing zero. Very important here. Trailing zero after decimal. after decimal. So when it is after decimal point indicating the precision of the instrument. So that 0 indicates the precision which has two significant figures. So you have to answer in two significant figures. So it would be 7.7. So that would be the second option here. Now, coming to the question number 22, we have a traveling harmonic wave. So, the question here is about calculating the phase difference for a distance of 0.5 meters. So, now we have to take phase difference is equal to 2 pi by its wavelength into the distance delta x. But let us first calculate the wavelength, that is 2 pi by k, and k is 2 pi into this value. So 2 pi into 0.008. So that would be 1000 by 8. 1 by 8 is 0. We can leave it this because the options are in terms of 8. We'll check it out here. So 2 pi by, and this is in centimeters. So this is in centimeters we got. If I want in meters, it is 10 by 8 meters. So I'll write it as 10 by 8 meters into 0.5 meters. I'll write it as half. So that it will become 8 by 10, that is 0.8 pi. So that is fourth option would be the correct here. Now, coming to this question here, we have a ray of monochromatic light passing through an equilateral prism. So, for the equilateral prism, the angle of the prism is 60 degrees and the refracted ray is moving parallel to its base. So, this is possible only under minimum deviation. And under minimum deviation, I1 equal to I2 equal to I, R1 equal to R2 equal to R, and A is equal to R by 2R 2R. So therefore under minimum deviation condition, it would be 2I minus A would be the formula. So now what is minimum deviation here? 2 into the angle of incidence is 50 degrees. So 50 minus 60 degrees. So that is 110 degrees, 100 degrees minus 60 degrees. So that is 40 degrees. So 40 degrees would be the answer here. Now, coming to the question number 24 here, in this circuit, it shows a half wave rectifier because one diode is used and an AC input signal is being given. So now we have to find what is the output across the diode. It's not across the load resistor. This is the point we have to remember. So at a load resistor, if the diode forward biases, output appears. But now here we have a positive half cycle and a negative half cycle. So for a positive half cycle plus, so here P side and N side, P side is becoming, here it is N side and P side. So N side is becoming positive. So it will become reverse bias. And at reverse bias, the output appears across the diode and there is no output across the resistor. So that means across diode, when we speak about, so the output will be there because it is reverse biased. So this is VD. So output will appear across the diode now. And at the negative half cycle, it is forward biased and output will appear across the load. So there is no output here. For one cycle of input, what is being given, we are showing it here in this way. I think you understood. Now, coming to this question number 25 here, we have a simple pendulum here. So, if I take a simple pendulum and it starts oscillating from its mean position to the two extreme positions, to and fro, at that time, at its extreme position, the kinetic energy is zero. And at mean position, the kinetic energy is maximum. So, now basing on this, for one cycle of one time period, it will go mean to extreme, extreme to mean, mean to extreme, extreme to mean. So that means your option here would be nothing but equal to 1 cycle, that is half of the cycle. One side we have that output as 1 0 to t by 2, maximum to minimum, again maximum to minimum. This way it continues. So third option would be the correct answer. Now coming to the question number 26 here, we have a resistor connected to a 12 volts EMF. So the EMF is 12 volts here, and the terminal voltage is E minus IR. I is 0.6 amperes and small r is 2 ohms. It's a direct question. So 12 minus 0.6 into 2. So you should be careful in doing calculations in hurry. So zero point 0.6 into 2 is 1.2. In hurry, don't make it as 12. So it is 10.8 volts. That would be the answer. I think you understood. Now coming to the question number 27. So let us calculate the work done to raise a body from a height of r to 2r. That is because the height is equal to r, they said. So that means the value of the total distance from their centers would be r plus h. So r plus h would be r plus r. So that is 2r. So then what is the work done here? So now work done would be the change in the potential energy, that is G m by the value of the first final value. So final value, that is R1 minus G by R2. So that would be G into minus of this values. So here we have minus value. So this is minus 1 by 2R plus minus of minus plus 1 by R. So that is by 2R LCM minus 1 plus 2, that is 1. So but GM by R is GR. So we'll substitute it here. GR into M by 2, MGR by 2. So fourth option would be the correct answer here. Now coming to the question number 28, an electric heater is supplying a system at a rate of 100 watts. So they gave that power as 100 watts, 100 joules by second. So this is what is joule by second. So now it is performing a work. What is the internal energy? So dq is equal to du plus du plus dw. Now they are asking us to calculate the internal energy. So now what happens is, so we have to calculate du. So that is dq. So dq would be nothing but 100 joules by second. Okay, the rate they are asking. So plus the work done, that is when I take this side. So this is minus 75 joule by second. So it would be 25 joule by second. So 25 joule by second would be 75. So this is how you have to do. So now here we have a room heater which is rated at 400 watts 220 volts. But we have the supply voltage dropping to 200 volts. So what is the power consumed? See, rated power is given, that is 400 watts with a voltage rating of 220 volts. But the supply, that is the consumed power, we have to calculate. So power consumed is equal to the supply voltage, that is V square by the resistance. But resistance of the heater will be the constant. So the resistance would be nothing but V square, which is the rated voltage by the rated power we take. So that is 220 into 220 by the rated value of the power, that is 400. 0, 0, here 0, 0 cancel. So this is 11. This is also 11 when I cancel with 4. So now we'll take V square. V square is 200 into 200. 4 into 10,000 we have, divided by 121. So if I cancel 400 by 121, so it would be 3s are 300s. One option is that 331 watts will be getting the answer. So second option would be the correct answer here. Now coming to the question here, it's like when ruler falls vertically. So a ruler is there, 5 persons are allowing it to fall freely, and we are observing what are the reaction time. Different reaction time every person will have. That is the time to see, observe, and react to that scenario or situation. That is called reaction time. So like we have 5 persons here, A, B, C, D. So let us check their reaction times here. So now coming to the time as a reference. So the reaction time of which person is greater? So here 0.22, that is B person, is greater than E person. Is greater than A person, is greater than D person, is greater than C. This is about the time. But the distances they traveled is S is proportional to T square. Obviously, the correct order for the distances traveled, because they have the reaction times in that way. So B, E, A, D, C, fourth option would be the answer here. Now coming to the question number 31, here we have two capacitors here. So each capacitor, first capacitor is C1, which is 200 picofarad. The second capacitor is also C2, which is 200 picofarad. So first is charged to a voltage of nothing but 100 volts. So that is a voltage it has. So what is the initial energy? Let us calculate. That is half CV square. That is half into 200 into 10 power minus 9 into the voltage is 100 square, that is 10 power 4. So this is 100, that is 10 power 6 into this, so 10 power minus 3 joules. But what happened, this we again connected to a another second capacitor. Now this is uncharged initially. Now what happens, they will exchange, the charge flow takes place from C1 to C2, and there would be a loss of electrostatic energy in the capacitor C1. So first we'll calculate what is the final energy here. Final energy is half into the value of the capacitance here, that is C by 2, C equivalent into the V square. So that is nothing but 1 by 4 into 200 into 10 power minus 9 into 10 power 4. So this comes out to be 10 power minus 3, just now we did, and this is half, so that is 0.5 into 10 power minus 3 joules. So what is the loss? They are asking about the amount of electrostatic energy lost, that is 1 into 10 power minus 3 minus 0.5, 1 minus 0.5 into 10 power minus 3. So that is 0.5 into 10 power minus 3 joules. So here we have 0.5, 6 actually, because this is 4, 5, 6. They are asking in terms of pico into pico, no? So that would be 0.5 into 10 power minus 3 joules would be the answer. Now here, a Savita is a 11th student while conducting an experiment to determine the effective length of a simple pendulum. She notes down that the time period of the pendulum for 30 oscillations, it is 60 seconds. So time period is for one oscillation. So that is 60 seconds by 30. So that would be 2 seconds would be the time taken for one oscillation. So now the question is find out the length. So T square is equal to 4 pi square into L by G. So L would be T square, that is 4 by 4 pi square into G, which is 9.8. But they said that pi square, you take it as 9.8. So 9.8 pi square cancel, 4 cancel. So the answer would be 1 meter here. Okay. So now coming to the question number 33. So the peak value of an AC current is 5 amperes. So that is I naught is 5 amperes. Next is the frequency is given as nothing but equal to 60 hertz. How long will it take the current starting from zero taken for the peak value to reach a value of that time to reach the peak value again? So now here the time taken, if I take an AC wave, so to reach the peak value, it will take T by 4 seconds. So the time taken will be T by 4. So let us calculate that. So frequency is 60 hertz given. So now the reciprocal of that will be 1 by 60 seconds, because the reciprocal of frequency is time period. So now that is 1 by 60 into 4. So that would be 1 by 240 seconds would be the answer here. Okay. Now, coming to the question number 34, in interference and diffraction, the light energy gets redistributed, and if it reduces in one region, producing a dark fringe, it will increase and produce a bright fringe in the other region. That is what is the question. So, now based on the given information, we have to answer the two options, whether they are correct or wrong, true or false. As there is no gain or loss of energy, the total phenomenon would be consistent with the principle of law of conservation of energy. Yes, because at one place, if it loses energy, destructive or constructive, at the other place it gains. So that is correct. And diffraction and interference are the characteristics only exhibited by light waves. So let us check with other waves like sound waves. Sound waves can reflect, refract, interfere, diffract. Only thing is they can't polarize. So light waves or sound waves can both interfere and diffract. So the second option is wrong here. Okay, so then A is true, B is false would be the answer here. So the first option is. Now, coming to the question number 35, a box of mass 15 kgs is kept on a stationary floor. So, this is the mass, and the coefficient of friction is 0.12 here. Now, what is the maximum acceleration? It's a direct question. So, maximum acceleration is due to the limiting static friction at which the body just tries to slide down by itself. So, that is mu s into g. Mu s is 0.12 into g is given as 10. So, it would be 1.2 meter per second square. So, the fourth option here you can see is 1.2. That is the correct. Now, coming to this question number 36 here, the sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy is given as 0.02 joules. So, the speed of the simple pendulum of the bob approximately is. So, here they gave total energy as 0.02 joules. So, that is nothing but equal to half m omega square a square, that is the value. But V max is nothing but equal to omega a. So that means half m V max square, that is 0.02 joules. So now multiply here. So we get V max is equal to 0.02 into 2, 0.04 by mass. What is the mass given? 20 grams. 20 grams means 20 into 10 power minus 3 under root. So here remove the decimal. We have 10 power minus 2. So it is 10. So this will be 5, 10 by 5. So it would be root 2 meters per second. But root 2 is 1.414. So that is first option here is 1.414. That is the answer. Now, coming to the question number 37 here, there are four statements given on mass number. So, first is the volume of a nucleus is proportional to A power 1 by 3. See, volume is proportional to cube of radius, and radius is given as R naught A power 1 by 3. So, that implies volume is proportional to A power 1 by 3 whole cube. So, that is proportional to A. So the volume is proportional to A. So first option will not be obviously not correct. So B is correct. And the difference, mass defect is the difference in the mass of the nucleus with its constituents. That is D. So B and D are true and A and C are false. So here in this case, the first option here given would be the correct here. So now coming to the next question 38, the angular speed of a flywheel is increased from 600 rpm to 1200 rpm in 10 seconds. So that is omega initial and omega final are being given. Now they are asking number of revolutions. First answer is in revolutions. So that's why only per minute has to be changed. First we'll calculate that. So that is a theta. But theta is omega average into time. That is omega I plus omega F by 2 into T. So that implies 1200 plus 600. So that is nothing but 1800 RPM. We have RPM in that by minute is there. So the minute is in the denominator. So by 60 into time. Time is again in the numerator, that is 10. So let us cancel out. So 2 900 here by 6 300 by 2 we have so that is 150. So 150 here would be the answer here. So here the fourth option would